Hello everyone, welcome to Sounds of Her Love. This was developed and published by DS Science, and this was released on March 9th, 2017. Now I'm playing this right now because I want to prepare for the upcoming sequel, Sounds of Her Love 2, that is in development at the moment, so please do look forward to that. Anyways, let's go ahead and start this. I think I'm gonna go with the usual far. That's about right. Something is ringing. Why won't it stop? My hand limply reaches out towards the noise, but I can't seem to locate it. Must be around here somewhere. I sense something rigid at my fingertips. Suddenly, I hear a loud crash beside me. The ringing stops. Ah! Forcing myself upright, an intense light greets my eyes. Beside me stands a hazy figure I can't make out. Do you mind not making so much noise in the morning? Your sister is still asleep. As my eyes adjust to the light, I see my mother standing beside me. I look downwards and see my table lying on the floor. My alarm clock just next to it broken into pieces. I'm not cleaning that up. Just get ready for school and come downstairs and make breakfast. My mother walks off. I don't think she's particularly happy. Well, I doubt many parents would be with their children creating such a ruckus. Still, it wasn't my fault. I was half asleep for crying out loud. I pry myself away from the bed sheets and pick up the table and the broken alarm clock off the floor. I check what the clock once read, and conclude it's almost 7 a.m. Unfortunately, today's a Monday, so it's back to school with me. Although it's cliche, I'm not really looking forward to it. It's that I dislike it, but you'd think after transferring it here things would have been a lot more lively. So far, nothing out of the ordinary has happened. Though, can't really expect life to be like that. This isn't some manga after all. Opening my drawers, I pull out my uniform. It's still as good as new. I haven't had much time to wear it in. I've only been here a week. For an international school, the uniform is quite generic. I was expecting something more prestigious. I guess this is still Japan after all. Even though I lived here all my life, my mother was dead set on sending me here. She's not a native, so she at least wanted me to connect with her side of the family. Despite her premise that getting in touch with my Anglican heritage was a good idea, the school isn't even English. It's Welsh. I'm pretty sure that's the country north of England. I don't think there's much difference anyway. After finishing doing up my blazer, I hear a shout from downstairs. Son, your breakfast will go cold at this rate. May as well let me have yours if you're going to waste it. Letting out a sigh, I close the door to my room and head to join my parents. Reaching the dining room, my mother and father greet me with warm smiles. Maybe not so much my mother. I still think she's pretty pissed. My father gives an empty chair a hefty slap, still smiling all the while. Sit down, my son. We have a hefty breakfast your mother would approve of. Of course I would. I made it after all. In front of me sits a traditional English breakfast. Eggs, toast, beans, sausages, and the like. I don't think I can eat all of this. The empty chairs pulled out from beside me. Guess my sister finally woke up. When it comes to the morning, she's not very talkative. Or noticeable, to say the least. I'm sure she'll fire up later, though. Ah, yes. My beautiful family is gathered at last. My sister acknowledges my father with a quick glance and starts eating her breakfast in silence. Tell me, Far, how are your studies? Was that hefty fee worth it? The school is private and teaches a foreign curriculum, so tuition fees are quite large. Luckily, my father can't pay for it. It's only for my final year. It's going okay? The initial buzz of it wore off after the third day. I guess it's like a normal school, not much different from the ones here in Japan. I did have an experience at a traditional Japanese high school, but due to our relocation to Tokyo, I had to transfer. If there's one noticeable comparison, it's the students. Most of them aren't natives, and a lot more are quite full of themselves, even I'm only half Japanese. Really? That much for a normal school? What was the point of that fee then? You want our son to have the best education possible, right? That, and he's close to my side of the family. Reasonable. Tell me though, this son, have you been speaking to any girls at least? Are you really asking him that? Both my parents engage in a stare-off. Things like this happen all the time. For them, this is only a bit of banter. Checking the clock on the wall, I realize I'm a bit behind schedule. I give my family a farewell and head towards the door. Wait, that clock is... I hear my sister say something just as I leave, though she doesn't chase after me to tell me. It was strange to hear her at this time of day, but I guess I can't fret about it now. I continue on a journey I'm only just getting used to. The street leading to school is particularly empty. Only a couple of locals are walking by, and the number of students is quite low. Checking my watch, I realized that I had left considerably early. I guess the clock at home was a bit fast. A faint noise distracts me from my wrist. Ahead of me is a female student, presumably from my school, picking up the contents of her bag off the floor. I guess she dropped it. I consider helping her, but by the time I move my feet towards her, she has already finished and continues onwards to school. She rubs the back of her head and her braids sway softly in the wind. Just as I pass where she was standing, I notice a small card on the floor. Instinctively, I pick it up. In my hands is a library card with what I assume to be her name on it. Ceri? Considering this is a Welsh school, I guess that's the origin of her name. I look up and she's nowhere in sight. Oh crap. Quickly setting myself off, I run towards the entrance of the school. I just hope I can catch up to her. It doesn't take me long to get her in my sight. I call to her. Ceri, you dropped this. Ceri turns around flustered, and I approach her with a ragged breath. Here you go.
Thank you.
She gives me a shy response as I hand her back the card.
How did you know my name?
It doesn't look like she's very comfortable with talking to me. It's on the card.
Oh. It's pronounced Ceri, like a K.
Ah, sorry. My bad.
Don't worry.
Ceri still looks rather uneasy. I guess some people just aren't that fluent socializing with others. Well, it's a good thing you got it back. We're both pretty early, so it would have taken a while for someone else to find it. By then, they probably would have given it to Lost and Found.
Thank you.
She thanks me again, and her eyes are averted slightly away from my direction.
This card is important to me.
Maybe put it in a safer place? You wouldn't risk losing it then. I know I don't have the right to tell her what to do with her stuff, but things like this are common sense.
I use it a lot. It's easier for me to reach it quickly.
I guess she's an avid book fan. She must be quite smart. That or she just likes books. I decided to continue the conversation. What sort of books are you interested in? What sort of books are you interested in? Fiction or non-fiction?
I read a variety.
Well, that was a short answer.
I want to study literature.
She looks at me as if she expects me to belittle her, though I completely deny her expectations. Ah, sounds great. It's good to have something you're passionate about. Her lips move. I guess she can't stop herself from smiling. Moving my feet again, I step towards the entrance of the school, turning around to face Ceri before I make any sufficient progress. It's still early, but we should still go to class. It's a bit cold after all.
You're right. I need to check what class I'm in.
She doesn't know what class she's in? School started a week ago. Don't tell me she has amnesia. Ceri shyly passes me and heads towards the school, and I follow suit, heading towards my class. I guess she was a pretty interesting person. Classes are well underway. The class is filled with a widespread sense of lethargy. It is a Monday after all, and lunch is just around the corner. Does anyone really want to learn about the structure of the inner mitochondrial membrane right before lunch? I lean back in my chair and stare down at my notes, which are just a little more than scribbles on a sparse page. In the end, I can't really say I expected anything different when transferring here. After all, the basic principles of teaching are the same wherever you are. There's no reason as to why this school would be any different. Though the extra language lessons are a pain in the ass. Just as I let out a small but definitely noticeable yawn, the teacher glares sharply in my direction. Bored, are you, Father? No, sir. Oh, what's your surprise? How about you answer the question at the bottom of page 3 then? I look at the closed book on my desk and realize what the teacher is referring to. I definitely haven't done a good job of pretending to work. Still, I oblige and turn to page 3, moving my gaze towards the bottom of the page, find a question that's somewhat relevant to what I managed to hear during the lesson. What is the space between the two mitochondrial membranes called? Is that the matrix? No, that's the bit inside. Well, boy, do you have an answer? I think it's the mitochondrial gap. I honestly don't know the answer. The safest bet would be to call it the mitochondrial gap. I mean, it's the gap between the two of them, right? Surely that must be it. Is it the mitochondrial gap, sir? I hear a few sneers from the more supercilious members of the class, but most of them seem to ignore my answer. I guess I was wrong then. How about you pay more attention in class next time then, Far? Oh boy, that choice has destroyed everything in my lifetime. The teacher goes back to the diagram he was drawing on the chalkboard before this entire fuss started. Though with technology nowadays, it seems pretty odd that the school is still using chalkboards. You know what, maybe I should go back. I can go back in time, sir. I can go back in time. It's the intermembering space, sir. Looking across the opposite page, I spot a diagram of the mitochondrion with a nicely labeled arrow showing me the answer. Intermembrane space, sir. The confidence in my voice, or more likely, the fact I got the answer right, seems to have left my teacher surprised. Well done, Far. I guess you were paying attention after all. I certainly wasn't. The teacher continues on with the lesson, leaving me to lean back in my chair once again. This time, I'll try not to yawn. Soon enough, class ends and I trail behind the mass gathering to exit the room. The crowd slowly shifts. The class only has about 30 people in it anyway. I stagger behind the other students residing in the corridor and make my way to the cafeteria. Chatter radiates from the swaths of people in the cafeteria. I weave my way through these standing around and people walking the opposite direction. The line is long as always. Unlike most schools, the food here is actually quite good, so naturally it's high demand. I join this queue of students left famished by the morning lessons. Time slows as the line slowly inches forward. All this for a sandwich? I know, mate. They're lush, aren't they? Made with 100% Welsh beef. That's what they say anyway. I find it hard to believe they would import that stuff to Japan just for this one school. Eventually, I'm the one gazing what's on offer at the counter. To be honest, that guy was right. The beef here sure is lush. It's quite a prestigious school. I buy the sandwich and stuff it into my bag. This place is quite packed, so I doubt I'd find a place to sit down. Just as I'm about to leave, I spot a table that's actually empty. Well, almost. I noticed someone familiar eating by herself. It's that girl from earlier. Ceri, wasn't it? I wonder if I should approach her. I hardly know her, but I kinda want to sit down. It's cold outside. Approach her. You know what? I may as well approach her. She's alone after all. I've been in that situation plenty of times this past week. I know how it feels. One step at a time, I make my way over to the table. Her silky braids gently rest by her sides, and unlike before, her braids only move due to her actions. As I draw closer, she takes notice of my presence and directs her head towards me. She hesitates to speak, but I planned on taking the initiative from the beginning. Ceri, it's me. From earlier. I don't think I ever got a chance to introduce myself. I try my best to avoid sounding nervous. Walking up to a girl sitting by herself is pretty noticeable to everyone else in the hall. My name is Far.
Hello. Thanks for earlier.
She is still pretty on edge. Perhaps I should just apologize to her and make a quick retreat. I'm sorry for walking up to you so suddenly.
Don't worry. I don't normally have people to eat with, so I'm glad.
She abruptly stops speaking after giving me a sign of gratitude. Her cheeks turn a rosy shade of red, and she directs her eyes away from me. I guess she's embarrassed. It did strike me as odd as to why she's alone. Aside from her lack of self-confidence, she seems like a fairly nice person.
I had an illness.
She goes straight on to why she's so alone. I never asked her, but I'm glad she thinks of me as close enough to her to explain it to me, even though we just met. Though, given that she seems so introverted, maybe I'm the only person that is.
For a while, I was immobilized. As recently as last week.
Is that why she told me earlier that she needed to find out what class she was in? Her face continues to grow to deeper shades of red. Maybe I should converse with her to ease her explanation. Though with her personality, I don't know if it'll actually help. I can understand, I guess. I'm new here, so I don't really have anyone to eat with. It's not really as relatable as an illness, though. I kinda regret opening my mouth. Hers, though, continues moving as her lips gently let out her unstable speech patterns.
I've been here since last year.
That's actually a pretty sad thought. If she's been here this long, how come she's this alone? Even with an illness, you'd expect her friends would still speak to her afterwards. Though I am making assumptions, for all I know, she could be a good friend with a classmate that just doesn't eat in school or is absent. My gut feeling goes with my former conclusion in spite of that idea. She delicately twirls the hair at the tip of her braid nervously during the lag times of our conversation. Can't really think of anything to say, so I decide to do something instead. It's bold, but I tear a sheet of paper from one of my books and scribble my phone number on it. If you ever need anyone to keep you company, then you can call me anytime. Or if you see me around school, just say hi. I doubt she'll do either anyway. To downplay the forwardness of my actions, I think of the cheesiest quote I can and continue speaking. Birds of a feather flock together.
You're giving me your number?
Though her voice is quiet, I can still sense she's a bit shaken up. I thought giving it to her would be acceptable in this day and age. People are practically dependent on their phones now. Still, giving your number to someone of the opposite sex will probably remain direct for years to come.
Thank you.
For some reason, she thanks me. Her pale fingers reach out towards her bag and she gently takes out a rather pink and cute looking phone. I didn't know anyone still used phone straps, but a daffodil charm swings in the air as she enters my number, her body shaking slightly all the while.
You're the first in the non-relative section.
Finishing her sentence with a smile, she gazes at me. I smile back, of course, which in itself takes a bit of courage. Her eyes quickly dart away to break our state of eye contact. She goes red again and her mouth is slightly ajar, leaving her lips to glisten as the sunlight enters from the windows beside us. The chimes of the bell resonate throughout the room. I guess it's time to get prepared to go to class again. Ceri stands, and shyly looks towards me as if expecting me to say something. Which luckily for her, I do. I enjoy speaking to her, even if she doesn't say very much. Like I said, feel free to contact me anytime. Though right now I guess we should head back to class.
Okay.
She trots along by my side, slightly behind me. Probably to keep her blushing face hidden, I guess. She seems to have a habit of going red. We part ways when I reach my classroom, with her giving me a hardly audible farewell once we do. The wooden chair behind my back is rigid and sticks into me, causing a slight discomfort. My eyes dart across the pages before me, looking for any information that could make my life easier. I hate homework. Words echo around the room as I speak solemnly to myself. I thought that it would be easier to just copy the answers straight from the textbook, but apparently they're not here. This heavy workload, however, does seem to compensate for the rather tranquil day at school. I did meet someone interesting, though. The blossom of rose on her cheeks, her silky golden hair, and her hushed voice. Ceri's presence would be minuscule by many, but I can't get her off of my mind. Fire! Dinner's almost ready. Calls from my mother reached my ears. I just about give up on my homework. It's not due for another week anyway, so I closed the book and haphazardly tossed it back on the shelf. The smell of cooking guides my way towards my door, but just as I am about to leave my room, something stops me. My cell phone chimes and vibrates slightly on my desk, leaving me to consider who might be calling. If you ever need anyone to keep you company, then you can call me any time. Or if you see me around school, just say hi. That's right, I gave Ceri my number, didn't I? I wasn't really expecting her to call me, but I guess she was probably checking that I wasn't giving her a fake number as a joke. Far, are you coming? I'll be down in a minute. Probably not a minute, but it shouldn't be that long. I might just tell Ceri to call me back, but the least I can do is answer the phone. I pick up the device from my desk and answer the call. Ceri breathes through her speaker, her nervousness all too apparent, even through a mobile call. Hello? Ceri?
Hello? I wanted to see if you'd answer.
Exactly what I was expecting. Ceri's voice seems a lot clearer, and the nervousness I had once heard is pretty much gone. Is it because she isn't speaking to me in person? Of course I'd answer. I gave you my number, didn't I?
You did. Thank you.
You didn't think it was fake, did you? I tease her about it. To be honest, if she gave me her number, I would probably think it was fake too. That is, if she wasn't so timid anyway. If her personality was different, she would probably be pretty popular. Don't worry, I'm just teasing.
Oh,
Teasing a girl I just met seems pretty abnormal, but I can't deny her response was adorable. You seem fairly relaxed. I call her out on the contrast of her speech patterns. I already know the answer, but I just want to show her that she can speak to people clearly if she just tries.
I find it easier speaking to people over the phone. I'm sorry if it seems rude.
Oh, no, it's fine.
I call my father a lot.
She did say it was her first non-relative contact.
I really wanted to speak to you.
Her stutters flare up again. The concept of calling someone from school is still probably quite foreign to her. Far, your dinner will go cold at this rate. I get another shove from the dining room. By now my family's probably started eating without me. It's quite a traditional thing in this house for everyone to eat together. I'll tell Ceri to call me back. I'd like to speak to you too, but do you think you can call me back? Probably in about half an hour? My dinner's ready and my mother's being quite persistent about it.
Oh, okay.
Ceri sounds a bit dejected about it. There's nothing I can do. My mother is quite strict at times, and she'll probably scold me for ignoring her if I don't go now. Ceri and I bid temporary farewells, and I head downstairs, leaving the phone on my desk. An aromatic smell hits my nostrils as I enter the dining room. 3 pairs of eyes are looking in my direction. It seems my family are well into their meals. You finally decided to join us, brother. My little sister gives me a cheeky remark as I pull out the chair next to her and sit down to feast upon my now lukewarm meal. I'm too lazy to microwave it. How was school? You went about an hour early, didn't you? You knew about that? I did tell you the clock was broken before you left. Oh, so that's what she was trying to tell me. I can hardly call it before I left. I was out the door at that point. Well, the extra school is good for your brother. Don't tell him about it next time. My father lets out an exuberant laugh as I continue eating. I don't think he realizes that no matter what time we get to school, classes don't start until they're scheduled to. In retrospect, I did get something out of going to school early today. I wouldn't have met Ceri otherwise. That reminds me, son, have you met any fit girls? I just asked you at breakfast and I didn't hear your response. That's because it was a stupid question. Interrupting my father just as she did before, my mother joins the conversation. Perhaps I should actually give him an answer? He won't stop asking me otherwise. My relationship with Ceri is so primitive, at least in a sense. I haven't even known her for more than a day and I'm talking to her over the phone. I can't deny I find her cute, attractive even, but I don't think this is the time or the place to be thinking about that sort of thing. Telling my father about her doesn't seem like a good idea in the slightest. Don't worry, son, that face is the only answer I'll ever need. The look on it, your face, I know what it means. Go get her, son. My father gives me a thumbs up from across the table, and my mother bats him a scornful expression. He's not a pervert like you don't have to listen to him far. A clean plate sits in front of me as I finish up the remnants of my meal. I want to leave the room quickly so I don't have to face any more questions my father might conjure up. I stand up from the chair, moving to the sink to quickly wash my dish. The thought of Ceri lingers on my mind as I leave the room and make my way step by step up the stairs. It's not unreasonable to suggest that I could end up in that sort of relationship with her. There's no sign of her having any friends aside from myself, and she is pretty attractive to be honest. Letting my mind wander like this isn't good. It's too early to think about developing my relationship with her. We only just met this morning. On the topic of Ceri, I need to call her back in a minute. Waiting for her to call again isn't an efficient use of time. I think I'm gonna save it for now. I kind of want to keep the first one a little short, so you can look forward to future ones. Anyways, if you're enjoying this video, please leave a like and maybe comment your things so far. And then if you want to try this out for yourself, it is free, so if you want, I will put down the links down below. And if you want to watch other bridge novels, please check my channel down below. Thank you, and take care.
Ceri is fine. Would you be interested in reading? When we first met, I was nervous. It wasn't even that long ago. I want to tell you something.